region.com. We're back with another episode of the RMR podcast. Today we've got episode 80 and a very special guest, Alicia Deals in the building, representing Cookies in Tempe. How you doing, Alicia? How you feeling
I'm,
today?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing great, great. Just happy to be here. So wonderful to be here and share the story.
I appreciate you spending time with us and letting us get to know you and sharing your story as well. You guys, your family, you guys have been on the grind in cannabis for quite some time, and now you guys are making some big legal recreational cannabis moves.
Big waves, big change, big change. Absolutely.
You
Like
just
change is here
you
to
just
stay.
were saying off camera that you were spending some time with Berner and some of the Cookies team last night. They were in town for their high school reunion tour in Phoenix. What was that like with y'all? Because
Right.
you're Cookies
Right.
fan now. So what's it like being celebrating with the fam?
It's surreal, right? It was wonderful. Shout out to the tour, everyone that supported and been supporting across the country. We had a blowout show, epic, phenomenal show last night, and I'm just so happy to be part of it. It was hot, but they brought the heat.
Hey, I mean, that's what's crazy with Cookies is like, it's funny is we just got a text yesterday from one of our writers in Washington and all these different states. Y'all have different cookies. Like it's cookies, but it's grown differently. It's the same genetics, but it has to be grown differently in each state because of these climates, right?
Mhm.
And when you say it's hot, but they also brought the heat, I personally think that is reflective of how strong the brand is as well as the product. There's always going to be haters, but Cookies stands for quality, and when the music is tied to it, it's such an entertainment experience. It's so
It's
cool.
unbeatable, unbeatable. It's a vibe for sure.
I
It's a
love
vibe.
it. So only certain vibes make sense with Cookies. Only a certain kind of partner makes sense with Berner. He's very particular. It's like a music. It's like a band or a rapper or a singer that it's got to work with a certain kind of producer for their partner, right? What is
Absolutely.
so? This leads me to wonder and learn about you guys. Like, who is the partner for Cookies Tempe? Who is Alicia Deals? Who is Robert Deals? What is this origin story that got you guys to where you are today?
Yeah. Me, myself, I say coming through this entire process, I stand as one woman who believed, right? I'm looking for change. I've been through a lot. I tell people that cannabis was our greatest burden, and now it births our greatest blessing.
Wow.
Seen both sides of it. I've seen both sides. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to bridge the gap between those whom have suffered and those whom have benefited solely on the basis of cannabis. Just pure numbers, as a person of color or a minority, you're almost 100 times more likely to go to prison or catch some form of a charge than ever own any form of legal business in the space. And I'm just so grateful to stand as a marker for change. As the first Black woman to own a dispensary in the state of Arizona, I'm honored. And to bring the first cookie store to Arizona, I'm honored. And, and then as you
It's
say,
so wild.
it falls back to the vibe, right? I was so determined in this to not partner or associate myself with anyone that first and foremost their values didn't align with mine.
Yeah.
I'm very simple and straightforward. It's faith, family, and finance. And if you don't fit into one of those three things, it's just not for me, you know?
There's
And
this human element that's super important that oftentimes, because cannabis is a race right now, they're not really in it for this quote unquote this marathon pace, if you would. And you find out that if you sacrifice on one of those values that's important to you, it's really going to come back and bite you in the ass, right?
absolutely, absolutely. All business is a human endeavor, right? The biggest and most important thing with people in anything is your why. Why are you here? Why does this matter to you? And for me, the struggle of it came from a much deeper place. When I heard of the program for the licensing and the qualifications, I told my father and my family, like, this embodies us. This is us by
Yeah.
all means, all terms. And we're gonna go for it and we're gonna succeed. And as we've done in the grandest fashion. I never imagined or see myself, aligning with the biggest brand there is. I didn't know I was going to beat everyone, but we did it, and I'm so grateful. And to just speak about full circle and life running full circle for where it burdened us, now it blesses us. Just the alignment with cookies. Berner's made great waves in this industry, and on personal levels. He made the
Yeah.
Forbes last year. And what was so ironic and so crazy is I ran into Steve Forbes in Vegas. And I'm telling him, I'm going to be in your magazine. I'm going to be on your magazine. He's like, yep. He's a cool OG, like the coolest you never imagined. And that month, he put Berner on the cover. And I just was
Wow.
blown away. I was like, he was really listening to me. Oh, my goodness. And then fast forward 1 year from that, me and him are opening the first cookie store in Arizona. Like, it just doesn't run much more full circle. And, he really grew up here and was so happy to bring a store to the Valley. And when you're on the right path, things just align and they run together. Like,
Yeah.
I don't feel it's no form of coincidence that those things overlapped and that things will continue to just move forward in the most positive and best facets.
People like to try to associate that word coincidence to all these moves, but they weren't in there in the gym for the repetitions. They weren't in there at home for the icing and the stretching and these conversations, right? They're not a part of these incremental building block. The days where you're just building, right? Where there aren't wins, where there aren't announcements, where there isn't fun content, right?
Hmm.
Most of these people aren't there for that, and I think with your guys' particular story, they certainly, the majority of people weren't around for the unjust arresting of your father, and which we kind of talk about the negative side of cannabis for a lot of things, and even with your family is there isn't a great history to some regard with the tie to cannabis. There's a pretty significant loss there. There's a pretty significant bad experience, and when you think about coming full circle for you guys, um, with your father still incarcerated, what kind of impact does this have on you guys today when you're able to speak and connect with him? um, what is that experience like now to know that you are partnering with the biggest, most respected brand, uh, and you are the first Black woman owned dispensary in all of Arizona, a market that the whole country is and the whole world is watching. So
That it just continues, the different details of our story continue to amaze and humble me at the same time every day. It's like sometimes you don't realize like how big of a deal it really is. Phoenix is the fifth largest city in the nation. Maricopa County has been the fastest growing county for the last decade and shows no chances of slowing down. So it's like you take over home, you've taken over the country. Like, look where
yeah.
you're really starting.
People
The
sleep on Phoenix. They sleep on Arizona. They
real
really
number.
do.
Oh
As a,
yeah.
on the in the national country scheme of things, what recently brought attention to that? It was the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah,
You got the
absolutely.
Phoenix Suns were doing really well. Chris Paul brought up a lot of just popularity and attention to the market when he joined a couple, probably 5-7 years ago now. And then Devin Booker, and I think the baseball, a lot of spring training still happens down there. It's
Mhm.
from a national perspective, the market and the state is very attractive. Even though with the limited licensing and the loopholes and all the laws and the unjust situation, a lot of people are just watching it. And you guys are at a very, you guys are right at a really interesting point in your guys' short market life at this point. And
Yeah.
then for you, yeah, for you personally, yeah, you take over there, you're going to inspire a lot of other dope young women, people of color, uh, black, cool black women. All young women. Like we want to inspire this next generation, right? I live by that Nipsey quote: "The greatest human act is to inspire others," right? And I really particularly connected with this story and your family story because, as I mentioned, I've got my friend who recently went through a situation similar in Texas where he threw weed out the window because he was afraid due to a previous charge that he was just dealing with. Already did time, but was so afraid when he was about to get pulled over that he threw it out the window. 2, 3, 4 charges later, life was kind of ruined. Like,
It it comes down to, you know, harm versus crime. It may have been a crime for him to have some weed because he's been in some trouble before, but like let's really talk about what harm is actually done in that. What
yeah,
harm is there? We don't defer fault or say, no one is everyone's innocent. You deserve no punishment. But let's be real, it's harsh. It's harsh. The,
yeah,
the the punishments for marijuana, the decriminalization. Thank God we're moving in the right direction as a nation. Prop 207 here did help a lot of people. It helped a lot of people. It removed misdemeanors. It helped a lot of people, but it still left a lot of people out. Just like
Right.
my dad, if they say, "Oh no, you don't fit the criteria because it was this or it was that," and it's just not right. There's a lot of people still suffering, and that's why I've made it my mission to form Life Changers Law Firm,
Hmm.
where we intend to help others. And like our story is hard, it's harsh, but there are many, many more, and one's worse than ours.
Yeah.
Like, you got 50 years. What do you mean they gave you a life sentence? Like, your third strike, and there are some very, very, very hard stories, and we just want to
So
help.
people talk about systematic racism and they tend to forget about that when it comes to cannabis because it's
Mhm,
nice and it's new and shiny right now and everything's all fun and games.
mhm.
And then we do bring attention to the people still in prison for that, and yet it's almost like that's used as a marketing tool in a lot of ways. And then you think about the people sitting there day after day and their families wishing they were there day after day, and it becomes a little less glossy when you think about, and I don't mean to be sexist by any means, but when you think about the brand ambassador girls just slanging weed to every single person, and they're not even, no one's thinking about anybody else but themselves.
Right,
And
right.
so I want to bring awareness to the fact that your father was a vet, is a veteran.
Yes,
He
yes.
served our country. We have legal weed because of him, and yet he's in jail because of a situation like this. And it's those kinds of situations that are absolutely unacceptable, and why we plead, beg, and advocate for better legislation, whatever that looks like, because every state is different, right? Every state has their own reality. And so for you and your family, um, how he used cannabis as a veteran. Do you know, was there any particular reason why? What was the reason? Or was it, was it a recreational reason? Was it a PTSD? Was it some form of pain? Because
Well, essentially, yes, he does have PTSD, which led into the situation of, like, the arrest. That's what
Mhm.
heightened the situation there. But in general, he was doing as I'm able to legally do now. He was trying to make a way. Just trying to figure it out. He was in the Air Force. Life took different turns, and he's just a good man and wanted to provide. Now, is
Mhm.
it something that you say is just like unheard of? You should have never been there. True, but it doesn't deserve that. You
Yeah.
can't take someone's life. He was really given 20 years because they gave him 18 years, and we fought the case. He fought the case from county for over 2 years. They didn't accredit him a day of back time. I've never seen or heard anything like that.
Wow.
What do you mean? We fought the case for 2 years and you don't get any of that time? They gave him day per day. They gave him flat time, no back time, flat time. So there's no kick out. Most states have like maybe an 80%, 70% where you get something off. Flat time, no, no back time. Just try to ruin him. How do you give a man with numerous mitigating factors? Again, he's a veteran, a husband of over 30 years, a father, a grandfather. These things count for something, you know. And so that's, again, as I say, it's my motive to change things. We need help.
It's
We
wild that
need
the system can pick and choose which things matter, and then pick and choose human elements and societal elements that all of a sudden don't matter at all. That normally, though, if it were, let's just keep it real, if it was a white human, that they're gonna be considered. Keep that family together. Don't destroy it. Don't destroy little Andrew's, what is it? A swimming dreams, right? Or whatever bullshit. But it's so quick to be overlooked for minorities across the country. And myself, I'm half Mexican. Do I run around, preaching and being prideful of that? No, because I'm not that, right? I am exactly how I'm treated, how I look. That's my life. And I've noticed personally that I definitely get treated differently in every one of those situations. It's always only ever getting pulled over when someone of color is in my vehicle or something like that. In all of those states where you would stereotypically assume it's happening. And so I find that it's extremely frustrating that we are seeing this still happen. And again, I want to ask anybody that is here watching this today, make sure you guys go out, vote, Get out there and change the legislation and be there for people. Don't just focus on yourself. Care a little bit more about the people around you. There are people still going to jail and prison every day for their third cannabis offense when they're pulled over for literally just being profiled. It's stuff like that is happening in all states right now. Now, I want to go to circle back around to a little bit of the cookies partnership. I'm a fan of cookies. I buy cookies in every state I go to. I'm a fan. I got cookies gear. I listen to Berner's music. I listen to Wiz, everything. How does one go about even seeking a partnership with cookies? Are you just shooting a DM, or is it reaching out to people in the circle? Like, how do we inspire someone in 10 to 20 years to have this same success?
First and foremost, being true to yourself. And I must honestly say, it was a pure blessing. It was a coincidence of timing, and strategic partnerships brought us together and brought it all full circle.
Wow.
Um, and yeah, so I would say again, yeah, first and foremost, being true to yourself, and being diligent in the industry. If you're in it, go hard, right? But everything is on motives and intentions, and that's truly what brought us together. It was timing, and then the reference of motive and intention. It was a
Yeah.
give back, and I couldn't think of a better partnership. I just really could not, with any better group of people. And again, the timing, and things are changing. It is a time for change. It's a time, for the people, and that's our element. Like, it's for the people. It's finally something that represents all of us, and great, only greater things to come.
That that the time for change and greater things to come is important because we need more social equity programs. We need more equity in general. There systematically things aren't set up for to help people of color in any of these industries right now, let alone this new one that's cannabis. So with Arizona being limited license, with it being a newer market, can you describe what going through the social equity process was like and getting this dispensary brought to market? The cookies issue is a big issue and a whole project of its own. But
Right.
how did you even just do this in general? You know, like
It falls back to what you were saying about, the element of racism. Social equity, the program in and of itself, stems from the war on drugs that was mainly targeted towards communities of color.
mhm,
So it's the give back there. That's where, the social equity even comes in. And for myself, it fit. It just completely fit the criteria that was needed. um, it was like, for once in my life, my seemingly unfortunate situation was completely to my advantage, right? Like, oh, you're from where and what happened, and you only make like, so it just,
yeah.
it,
Let me
it,
help you. Let me help this
mhm.
situation. How can we help? The narrative starts changing, drastically.
Right. So, I mean, with that, as we do see things moving forward in the country, they are trying to change things, different propositions and whatnot, and programs such as this, which are sweeping the country.
Mhm.
Are they changing everything? Does it fix what's happened in the past? No, but it's definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Um, and as a person that has lived the life, that has suffered the unfortunate, backlash of racism, and I'll plainly say also, I don't feel, if my father didn't look the way he looked, if he was definitely a few shades lighter, I don't think he would have ever gotten a sentence of this magnitude. I don't think they
Yeah.
would have he would have been in veterans court. He would have, none of this. I'll say it plainly. I don't think so at all.
I
Um,
not that my and these most people's opinions matter, but I would solely agree based on the fact that my friends have always been darker complected than I am, and 16 times I was pulled over in college, and I didn't have a vehicle. Wasn't my car.
wow.
Wasn't my car. DDing for other people Wednesday, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, 16 times in 3 years, didn't have my own vehicle, pulled over every single time someone was black or Samoan in my vehicle. Every single time. Hanging out with rappers, local, big, famous, doesn't matter. No, they don't care. Police don't care. They see someone sit in the back, a couple dudes in the back of a car, they're liable just to check and see what's good. And it sucks. And it's so frustrating, and it's embarrassing. Not for us, not for me. It's embarrassing to be that person and knowing that that's happening and knowing that that's the reason and they're lying to our faces. They're making something up. And so really frustrating. I'll never understand entirely, but I definitely feel the pain every time that I think about my friend and his situation in the last few years, his kids, and how drastically his life changed. I can't help but think about my relationship with cannabis and how this has impacted so many other people. I never thought it would be me, right? And then it was my one of my best friends. Next thing you know, um, when it comes to the Arizona market, it's got stiff competition. You've got these big MSOs, they've got crazy funding. They don't really know how to run their businesses that great, according to the books and the industry chatter, but they're still there. Bunch of licenses, bunch of locations, other states funding things, collaborations with like Wiz and stuff, right? How did you plan on being hyper competitive, and how do you plan on staying competitive and ahead of the get and ahead of the curve?
My pitch or my motive always was get out in front and be different. You're the first one, really be the first one. If
Hmm.
there's nobody else like you in the space, you definitely have to be different and put on for the people. Do it for the people. Give back to the people. I am one of the people is the difference between myself and everyone else. So that alone was a standing marker of difference, right? And then the partnership with cookies, I'll say plainly gave me the advantage to be different, that heavy strikeout of different. I am different. I'm going to show you I'm different. And through, again, grace, I was able to collaborate and show a real mark of difference and edginess. And as you say, every cookie store in every state is different
Hmm.
already. And so with us, we are just the ones. We want you to know that we care for the community. We are you. We are us. It's us. It's not a us and them, have or have nots. It's us. This is us. You know. And I believe the people know it and see it. And I'm so grateful for the love and support that we have received, knowing and seeing what I've been through, and what Berner is also helping to push for many others. He's been doing a lot of work with the Last Prisoner Project, Freedom Papers, and it's great markers for change, great things. And I say that's our standout difference is that it's truly for the people.
Being, being a local, are you born and raised there in Phoenix and in that
Yeah,
area?
yeah, I'm a Phoenician, born and raised.
I love it. I love it. We, with our brand being called Respect My Region, and us being from a region, the Pacific Northwest, that's known for a region. No one cares about Washington as a country. They care about, oh, that Oregon Pacific Northwest stuff. It just, oh, let's go to the South. Let's go to Texas. Oh, we got to go to the West Coast, California love, right? Like there's this regional love, and we really enjoy amplifying local culture. I love that you are born and raised there. I love that you really, really care about being authentic, that you really care about providing an honest and real experience that's different. And I think with the partnership and your actions, that really is able to come to light in a big way. When you guys opened, the launch seemed cracking, man. Tell me a little bit about that, man. I know you were excited. I know it was a party, man. What was that like? Tell me, walk me through that day.
Excuse me. Oh, it was a movie. It was a movie. Phenomenal, groundbreaking, history making in so many ways. As the first cookies, as the first woman of color, and yeah, plainly just sheer numbers. No grand opening in the state has ever hit numbers like that. There were people that told me, one guy said he came from Texas, a few from California. People started camping out the night before. It was amazing. It was amazing.
I love those campouts. It's always fun when the social media people for cookies go out there beforehand and they start showing and capturing some of those TikToks and like just people. There ain't in cannabis. Anybody can hate on cookies as much as they want. Just like you can hate on Nike if you really want. You can find a reason to dislike Starbucks if you want. But let's not forget that when you're that big and people are that loyal. People you can't deny the fact when people love the brand. So
Yeah.
I got a bug attacking me. We got that. It's nice here. I don't know if someone flying around my face. You can't deny when a fan loves something. You can't. And when there are people lining up for days, what an experience. And to know that you helped curate that, what does it feel like for you to wake up? own a dispensary, sell weed, and know that you are delivering some of the best cannabis in the entire state?
Every day is more, it's just more gratitude and more humility at the same time. Like, it's just like, wow, this, and then what else? And then it's just so grateful. I will say I'm still wrapping my head around it. I'll say that. um, but it's just it's surreal. It's surreal, right? And then to do all this, and I'm sending my dad the pictures and videos through Securus. Like, it's like some days I don't.
It's
It's
still
it's
it's still got to be draining, right? It's not like it gets any
it can
easier.
get
The
heavy.
celebrations just got to almost way heavier to some extent, right?
Mhm. Yeah, and you want to be positive, which I am, and I'm just grateful for the opportunity and the change. And his strength gives me strength, to be honest. Just 12 years, just the amount of time, every day. You just think about what you were doing 12 years ago and what
Yeah,
you've done in all that time, and think that this man has never left custody, never left from someone telling him what to do every day, telling from calling him by a number. Like, my son has never seen his grandfather outside of a prison yard. Like, I don't know if people even understand how drastic it is just to even visit someone. Have you ever even been
yeah.
in a prison visitation room? Like, it's hard.
There's a
It's a
stigma
lot.
surrounding anybody that has been involved in that system. There's a stigma surrounding families that have somebody involved with the system, right?
Yeah.
And there's a stigma for some reason surrounding uh, assuming that race plays into that, as if that makes us better or worse or different. Like the white person or the Asian person or whoever it is isn't the same human still sitting in these cages at the end of the day, still sitting in a cell, whether it's an international style cage in like the Philippines or one of those crazy countries that you see on Netflix, or whether it's South Central or Phoenix. At the end of the day, better or worse, it's the same thing. You have lost your freedom and your family is now impacted. The stigma is applied. Your resumes and your job and being a number follows you. And that, for some people, they're not actually able to mentally come back from that. Not only just in real life, but like mentally, it ruins them and their humanness forever sometimes.
Yeah. Right. No, the impacts of prison, and a lot of references are almost unspeakable. Just the things that we know happen in prisons, right? And then the effects it has on your family, and then even families staying together. One time I seen an ad, of visual content, and it was so powerful. It showed a young man sitting in a cell, and it showed groups of people, his mom talking, his dad, his brothers, his sisters, and then all of a sudden it showed everyone in the cell, and it said, when you go to jail, everyone who loves you goes to jail. And it's true. If
Yeah.
anyone you love goes to prison, you're going to prison too. It's going to affect you in some way. Just to call them, for them to call you, you have to pay. For you to go see them, it takes hours. My dad's over 3 hours away. He's in Yuma right now. So this is 6 hours round trip. So imagine driving 3 hours, sitting in a prison visitation room 5 or 6 hours, and then getting up and driving home 3 hours.
Wow.
And then that's if you can do it. Some people can't even do it. They don't have a
Yeah.
vehicle, they don't have gas money. Like, the stresses of prison, the factors, the horrendous factors of incarceration are real. And I just hope to use my voice. I plan to use my voice in this platform to shed light on it, bring awareness. Incarcerated lives matter. We've started Freedom Fridays, where we speak on show love to the incarcerated. People don't understand just how much just a card, a letter, just
Yeah.
answering the phone makes a difference. It changes lives. It'll change someone's lives. And as you said, some people don't come back. And that's why with Life Changers Law Firm, first and foremost, we have to mount a strong defense if you do end up in some form of situation, having proper representation, which my father did not have. That's a whole nother story in and of itself. We had multiple attorneys that literally did nothing, never didn't even show up. Like I
Wow.
said, fought the case for over 2 years in county. We had 4 or 5 attorneys, all paid, and didn't do anything. Um, so it's a lot. So first and foremost, we have to mount a strong defense, support those that in the unfortunate event do end up incarcerated, and give them a bridge when they come home. And
We've got to
we
give
can.
these people a voice. Together, we've got to be a platform to help them. I think, obviously the words free Robert Deals, it has impact here now, but the only way that we're really going to see impact is by actually doing real things, by actually being active, by being out there, not just being a loud voice, by actually helping and doing advocacy, helping to vote. And
Yeah.
so to everybody watching, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. We want you guys to make sure that you guys get the message. Go vote locally. Please support cannabis decriminalization legislation. Free some version of freeing incarcerated prisoners. There's got to be a give and a take. There's got to be a case by case give and a take. There's got to be some form of conversation or group that can help decide those kinds of things. It can't just be people that don't understand this making decisions for other people. Men shouldn't be making decisions for women's rights, and people that don't know cannabis or understand racism or systematic oppression, they shouldn't be dictating all the things. We've got to find some change, and I think with the next generations of young people coming in, hopefully we continue to see more of that. Alicia, who are some of your favorite brands in the Arizona market? You own a dispensary. I assume you smoke a little bit of weed. Cookie's partner. You probably smoke some fire out there.
Excuse me.
What? Who are some of the quality brands out there in Arizona outside of the Cookies fan?
Oh yes, yes. We have the Sweetos brand, another brand coming from the people, for the people, by the people. A wonderful brand. We have my personal brand, Phoenician. Um,
Ooh,
yeah, it is. Again, we rise. So fire, fire. You find it in your local dispensaries. Um, I do love AMF. They on the team. We love it. That usually gets me where I want to be.
okay.
But yeah, we have Viola, another brand for the
Yep.
people, by the people.
Shout out
Great,
to
great.
Al Harrington and his legendary grandmother.
Yes, yes. And that's another person that's a good person. Like I've spent time with Al is a good person, with good heart, motives, and intentions. And I'm happy and pleasured to be around him, have his brand in our stores, um, and many others like him. There are people like myself. So that an encouragement to others. If
Yeah.
you're in a space and you want it, go for it. Go for it. Um, and nothing will stop you. Keep your heart and mind in the right place.
I love your energy, man. You are an angel and an inspiring entrepreneur and business owner, and I really enjoy everything about this. I wish you nothing but success. Now, I want to leave you here with a powerful opportunity. What is some advice that you have for uh, the athletes that in the NBA that just got allowed to work with cannabis brands? What is your advice to those to other people like yourself that maybe they're creative, young business women, young entrepreneurs graduating college, trying to figure out what they're going to do out after high school? What is your advice for them to get into cannabis? How can someone maybe have a chance to build what you've built?
Being diligent, and first and foremost, don't let anyone tell you that your faith is unfounded or your dreams are too big. Faith, family, and finance is what brought me through this. Believing and knowing, first and foremost, refusing to be a statistic, and believing and knowing that I can make a change. Cannabis is it's a new and growing industry, so there's almost not a right or wrong way because everything is groundbreaking. So just believing in yourself. No dream is too big and no faith is unfounded. Believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself. Freedom Grow. What was the law firm again?
Life Changers Law Firm.
Life Changers Law Firm. Please, you guys, all of our subscribers, all of our followers, make sure you guys check that out. If you guys happen to be in Tempe, fly into Phoenix, drive over to the cookie store. I promise you, you're going to have a great experience. I've never gone into a cookies location. I've been in cookies in 7 states, 3 countries. I've never had a bad cookies experience at their stores. The only time I've ever had a bad cookies experience is when I bought their weed in Cali at other dispensaries, and that was before they sucked it all back in and was like, yo, we're not doing that right now. We're going to just really tighten it up. We're going to stick with our partners. We're going to really make sure that the quality don't drop like that, blah, 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 blah. They tested it. I thought the weed was good, but the market didn't like it, I guess. But that's Cali. Again, every market's different. So go to Arizona, check it out. Cookies Tempe, Alicia Deals. I appreciate you as the guest. Thank you for what you've done and the inspiring work. Thank you for your time today. Please give your family and your father all our best love and well wishes from Respect My Region. I'll definitely work on getting a little package set aside for you and the fam for our stuff. We got clothing and all that good stuff. And if you ever in LA, I'd love to connect. So
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for hearing me, and thank you for help carrying the voice.
I
Free Ron.
appreciate you. Everybody, this was episode 80, man, RMR podcast. We had a living legend in the building. On behalf of her father, Robert Deals, nothing but love and respect. We hope you guys have a really, really long, blessed life doing this cannabis work. And of course, we've got to work to free your father. I'll see you on the next episode. We'll get you. We'll have to get you on here again soon. Okay.
I look forward to it. Thank
All
you.
right. All right, y'all. Like, follow, subscribe. This episode is brought to you by RMR's Legacy Smalls Flower, available in Washington and California. Make sure y'all go check that out. Great product, indoor for a great price. Go show Cookie some love, smash the follow, and we'll see y'all next week. Alicia, have a great rest of your day.